People, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hope you're all well, inshallah. If you're here right now, are we delayed? Yeah. Raheem getting late every day. No, we're not that late. Anyway, Assalamu alaikum, people. Hope you're well, inshallah. Now, today, I've got a special guest in front of me. Yesterday, we had his brother, Idris. And today, I'm here with my brother and his brother, of course, Pro PT, Yusef Batura. How you doing? Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you, bro?
Welcome me, bro, and welcome the people in the chat as well.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, I'm good.
If you are joining here right now and you're in the chat, let us know. And if you've got any comments, if you've got any questions for Yusef, then please do hit us up in the chat as well, inshallah. Did you watch yesterday's stream?
Yeah, I watched it. It was really good.
Yeah?
I was actually quite surprised and taken back by the way it is articulates himself.
Bro, you know the way he articulates himself. Like, I haven't had a proper... I've seen him in the gym, obviously, so many times, but I haven't had a proper conversation with him. Like, the way he is... The way he articulates himself is mad, alhamdulillah.
He's developed so much.
Yeah.
Imagine, I've seen him as my younger brother, someone who's been beside me and a great support throughout my journey from business, personal growth, just being a sibling, and just watching him mature, grow, the way he speaks. I was very I was locked in like the whole podcast. So
yeah, same, bro.
It was good.
I've got a question for you for the back of that, yeah?
Chat to me, bro.
He was saying that he wanted to be a motivational speaker, and he came to you and you said, nah, you ain't ready for it.
That's right.
Why?
So at the time, I felt like he hadn't gained, Idris had this passion of creating a voice of Idris. And I said to him at the time, you haven't started your journey, you haven't started your story yet. And I feel like he hadn't had enough life experience to be someone to be motivating people. Because one thing about Idris who was good at the time was he can read a script or he can read something and he can like recreate that and make it sound and look even better. So like from a young age, he'll look at a script or he'll look at something on YouTube and he'll act it up. Or like he will see like a video on Instagram and he'll be able to like recreate it weirdly, but in a way where it was so much better. But it wasn't authentic. You know what I mean? It wasn't him. So at the time when he was trying to create this voice, I said to him like, you haven't even studied how to like speak to people, how to captivate people's emotion. Yeah. How to like get people's reaction in a way where it was authentic. So yeah, I remember I did say that to him. We sat in the car and I said to him, go away and study how people speak and how people articulate themselves and how people come across and how to be authentic and recreate your story. And alhamdulillah, it's gone to show after years and years of experience and, you know, going through his own journey, he's able to do that now and he's able to find his niche.
Alhamdulillah. Do you know why this podcast is going to be interesting? Not because obviously you're both brothers and I love the brotherhood and unity all three of you have. That's right. Alhamdulillah. You know, you're all doing your own thing. You all support each other massively. That's the proper brotherhood that everyone should have. And if anyone's got brothers and they don't have that, they need to have that. Absolutely. But also the other reason is, if there's one person I know who goes an above and beyond for charity, is Yusef. You know, alhamdulillah. You literally... So let me go through this. You done a 100k run in London.
In London, that's right.
You thought, that's not enough, so I'm running to Amsterdam.
Yeah, that's right.
So you run there, then you come back. And what else have you done for? I know you've done other things for charity as well, but like what other things?
Still doing things now. Yeah. To still raise funds to hit the 100k target. Yeah. So talking about brotherhood, I know it just mentioned yesterday about just himself struggling to find brotherhood and to find authentic people and like just really truly feeling like you've got a community or like a strong bond. So for a very long time, it's always just been me and Idris. And obviously Kareem as well. But where Idris played a big part in not just living with me, but running our businesses together. Kareem was always also the brother that we would like link up on the weekend. But Idris was more so like right on top of each other, 24/7. So we used to struggle with like having friends or like being, I wouldn't say being accepted, but we didn't accept no one actually. That's what it was. We struggled to find people who, you know, were on deen, who, you know, won't be like constantly talking about women, talking about, you know, or like commit to like drugs or like all these things. So to find disciplined individuals was quite hard. So me, just would rather like just be ourselves and not let people in our circle than just have external people. So eventually, like, we created this brotherhood a few months ago. Brother Abu Sufyan, who was here yesterday, he came up to me in the gym and he's like, Assalamu alaikum, but we met before. And
that's probably where I've seen him before. Because yesterday he had a familiar face and I was thinking, where have I seen him? But if I've seen him in the gym, then
you've seen him with me at the gym. So he's like, you're very, he said, I know you know Aki Ayman and I'm a very good friend of him. Why don't you come chill with us tonight? We're going to do like a little meet at this restaurant. So I ended up going to link up with them And then I was like, whoa, like I've never seen brotherhoods like this where people truly love it. So people truly love themselves. So people truly love one another for the sake of Allah.
Yeah.
They get it. I'm not used to around being Muslim brothers who are also quite successful or driven or doing things that I felt like, you know what, I can be around this. So after that invitation there, I went back to Idris and I said, oh, look, you need to come and meet these brothers. They're good brothers, you know. And from there, literally like about 3 months ago, after building this brotherhood and this Jama'ah in the masjid and, you know, helping Idris and Abu Sufyan create this Project Qibla, we were sat down in a restaurant called Alanya.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh, yeah.
You've been to Alanya, yeah?
Yeah.
Amazing
no, I ain't
restaurant.
been there, but Abu Sufyan was telling me to come yesterday.
That's his restaurant now.
I know, yeah, that's why he's telling me to come.
Turkish
He was telling me to
fusion.
come there. So shout out there, Alanya, and what was the other one? Food Coma. That's the one, yeah. I'm going to go there inshallah
amazing,
as well.
Amazing. If you like the whole like bougie Turkish fusion style, go to Alanya. If you're someone who's like a foodie, and you want, exactly, and you want to get that Food Coma, it says the name rings for itself, then go to Food Coma. So yeah, literally from sat there, you know, I've always been a strong advocate to spread, not just raise awareness, but also to help out our brothers and sisters in Palestine in any form of way, whether it's from social media, you know, doing charity and stuff. But I hadn't actually done something myself. And then, you know, Dawood, innit? Magician Dawood.
Yeah.
So he reached out to me and he's like to me, one Ummah charity are looking to take brothers to Saudi to do a walk from Mecca to Medina. Yeah. Would you be up for it? And I said, yeah, I'll be down for it. He said, the only thing is, you need to raise a certain amount of money for you to like come. And obviously at the time, I'd never raised money on social media. I didn't know how to raise money on social media. Any charity work I did was just like through myself or just through a few brothers. So then I thought to myself, how am I going to go about doing this? And I just thought to myself, like, I couldn't really relate to like doing this whole like maybe like Islamic content at the time, because obviously the audience and the sort of stuff I was posting wasn't similar to that. So then obviously from doing that, I then decided to, instead of going on this trip, I said to myself, you know what, I'm going to try to raise awareness on my own platform and actually start raising money for Palestine, because especially with what's been going on and just being around certain brothers from our Jama'ah, we basically thought, if you're someone who loves to train hard, you know, you're someone who's quite extreme with their challenges and you've got a platform, why don't we use it and try to create something? Yeah. And literally we came up with an idea to basically raise, at first we decided to raise 50k. So then literally we're like, cool, how are we going to go about doing this? So they're like, oh, why don't you just like run a marathon or do a little small challenge in London? And I thought, nah, I'm not going to do that. Yeah. And it's been a long time I hadn't run an ultra marathon, and an ultra marathon, for anyone's watching who doesn't know, is anything more than 42k.
Okay, and so a marathon is what? 26k, right?
42k.
Oh, it's 42k.
So
okay.
half a marathon is 21.5k, and then a marathon is 42k. But yeah, a marathon is 27 miles. Yeah. So everyone's like, oh, why don't you just run that? And I thought to myself, it's been a long time I haven't actually run an ultra, and I've run 2 ultras previously. One was so Brighton to London. Yep. Which was 100 kilometers, and I did that in 12 and a half hours.
Was that for charity or was that just for?
That was just for myself. Okay, just as whenever I go through a phase of like dark moments or phases of like feeling boredom, I end up doing something crazy. Yeah. But I utilize what I learn and what I create from doing these challenges to channel into my personal life, whether it's for business, whether it's for self-growth, whether it's for mindset. So I did the Brighton to London, which was 100k. Then I did the Cambridge to London, which was 75k. And I'd done both of them in the past with little to no training, and I was able to accomplish these challenges. So amongst the brothers, they're like, Idris had just ran, I believe it was 80k on a running track. So they're like, why don't you run 100k then? I was like, cool, let's start this. Let me run 100k to raise 100k for Palestine. Yeah. So from creating this movement, I thought to myself, how am I going to market this? Because the content I'm posting on social media had nothing to do with it. So I came up with an idea to just like put myself out there again, be consistent. I created this like rent pay community where I was like constantly running every day, making people accountable. So not only was I making myself accountable, but by me being accountable and showing up every day, I was able to inspire other people, and that gave me the sort of motivation to be consistent with it. So it was like a business approach. So I thought to myself, let me break down this 100k, and I went on AI, and then I wrote on ChatGPT, how do I run 100k in 30 days and create a training plan for me? So I literally created a training plan for me, and this training plan was quite extreme. It was pretty much running like 10, 20, 30, 50 Ks every single day, back to back, with no rest.
That's mad.
And even when it said have a rest, I'm like to myself, I'm not going to rest. I've got 30 days to accomplish this. And even ChatGPT didn't recommend me to do it as well. It's like, we recommend you take longer time, because for an average person, they usually train like 6 to a year, 6 months to a year for a marathon.
To do that,
Not just do a marathon, let alone 100K, which is like more than a marathon. But then I said to myself, now I want to do it in 30 days. And I want to do it to not just inspire people, but to bring myself back into the fitness world. Because I took a break for like 4 years from the fitness world. And then from setting that up, I then put on ChatGPT, I said, how do I start raising money for charity? And it was just giving me all these crazy ideas, like, you know, run social media content, collaborate with the charity themselves, you know, raise awareness, create content about what's going on, be consistent, you know, like all these things. So then I thought, well, this is a very similar approach. If I was doing like a launch for like a new product in business,
the same sort of
this
thing.
is exactly what I'll be doing. But now I'm actually raising money. And then it was like, well, how do you make yourself look authentic? And how do you let people know that this is a 100% proceed donation, that you're not getting paid for it, you're not making money for it? So it was just all of that sort of similar approach to business, which I had experience from. And I'm like, I'm actually going to do it. And I'm going to set this target of raising 100K. And then within the first month of training for it, you know, and it wasn't as easy as just getting up every day and running 10, 20, 30, 50 Ks daily. There was a lot of sacrifice I had to go over with it. My time, my sleep, you know, business I had to like pause a lot of things from my business perspective. My recovery was intense. You know, like there's one thing training for these events, but also like recovery was mad.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Physio sessions, my nutrition had to be on point. And I thought to myself, I need to start getting sponsors as well. I need to get my meals on point. I need to get the right gear. You know, going to the gym is one thing, but when you become a runner, you need the right trainers. You need the right supplements. So all these things. So basically, I just used my network, and I was able to reach out to the right people who were the best at what they facilitated, and was able to create this sort of package. I'm
going to pause you there because we're going to go on an ad break, but it's so relevant as well because the same sponsor I'm about to pull up right now, we both know the wicked brand, Sunna Supplements.
In every aspect.
So I'm going to pull up to the sponsor in a second, but I would say, how did Sunna Supplements help you in that? Because I know they've got a whole load of products. I want to know what products.
In every aspect. Sunna Supplement came on board on the second challenge, the London to Amsterdam. And I'd be real with you, big up to my brother, because I couldn't have done it without him. From every aspect, not just from the supplement aspect. The brother sponsored me. He facilitated a lot of the expense that were into it to make it happen. And it was literally off of one donation he made. Like he made a donation at the start for the 100K run. I never knew who he was, and I'd never spoken to him. I've seen his supplements everywhere, but I've never known who he was. The brother would literally reach out to me so generously and said, listen, now we arranged a phone call. From a phone call, I didn't have to say nothing. I just pitched him that idea, and the guy said to me, just send me your bank details.
Done. Literally,
like, from no conversation, nothing. The guy was like, I fully buzz with what you do. I support Palestine. I've done a lot of work. I worked with Raheem, and you know, like I'm fully behind you. I've seen the effort and the time you put into raising for the 100K run you did. I'm fully behind this, and like, just don't say nothing. Like he didn't want nothing out of it. He just said, "Bro, just do it." And I have full faith in you.
Alhamdulillah. You know what I gotta say? You know, Hamza, if he's watching this right now, shout out to himself because he's so
big up, bro.
Forget the fact that he's easy to work with, but just a brother who's willing to help other people with their causes and help everyone else, and alhamdulillah for that. So let me put everyone onto Sunna Supplements now.
100%.
Right, it's Ramadan. I've got something incredibly special for you. You might already know Sunna Supplements because me and Sunna Supplements work together on a close basis, and you will probably know them for the incredible collagen protein. But let me tell you something right now. Their electrolytes, game changer, especially during Ramadan. So during Ramadan, Sunna Supplements have got this incredible Ramadan package where you can get 2 packs of collagen, electrolytes, and a shaker included as well. Now let me tell you how you actually use this in Ramadan. So during your hours of suhoor, what I'll simply do is have a scoop of collagen followed by a sachet of electrolytes as well. The electrolytes are going to keep you hydrated throughout the whole day of Ramadan because obviously you can't have water, you can't have food. So this is going to be something that actually helps you fuel yourself during the day. One sachet has the same mineral contents as 3 liters of water. And of course, with the colors on the shaker as well, you already know that a portion of the profits are going straight to this country right now. So you can get all of this for 50% off. Plus, use the code CEOCAST, you get an extra 10% off. That is a whopping 60% off throughout the month of Ramadan and keeping yourself fueled hydrated, the whole lot throughout the month. So you want to make sure you're fueling your body the right way this Ramadan and get this Ramadan package. Don't forget to use code CEOCAST for the extra 10%. The link's on the screen right now as well as the description and the QR code. You got no reason not to get this. I'm making it as easy as possible for you. So scan the QR code, get to the link in the description and get yourself this Ramadan bundle. So Sunnah Supplements, thank you very much for sponsoring CEOcast. It's keeping me fueled throughout the whole month of Ramadan and it's going to keep you guys fueled as well. Weird, I didn't switch. My bad, people. Anyway, people, if you're just joining us right now, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hope you're all well, inshallah. Today I'm on the stream. I'm here with Yusef, my brother. We were just talking about how he's been running marathons, and not even just marathons, ultra marathons for Ramadan, and alhamdulillah, he's been, absolutely smashing it with that. I want to ask you why you do the charity stuff. Why does the charity stuff mean a lot to you, and why is it you go above and beyond for charity?
So my key foundation as an individual, anything I do in life, I do consider myself as an extremist. So
you do?
From a physical perspective, from a business perspective, anything I want to do, I don't just want to do things average. I want to be the best at it. And I like to go above and beyond. So alhamdulillah, from the start of my journey, and I think this all stems back to my childhood. I knew that for someone who grew up in Tottenham, had gone prison, he's gone through so much hardship, that when I wanted to do that 360 and make that change in my life, I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but I knew I also was running out of time, and I knew I had wasted a lot of time. I felt like my prime teen age was wasted doing the things that I shouldn't have been doing.
How old were you when you came out?
So I went to, I was 15 and I was only in a month for 6 months.
Okay.
But by the time I come out, I had a lot of conditions and I had a lot of things that were there to restrict me as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew that being involved in the road life, I'd been stabbed twice and decided not to, retaliate, rebel, and to still make that change for my personal life. I knew that I had to do like an extreme change. It went down to the point where I gave up my childhood. I gave up, my area, my friends and everything to change my life around. And that sacrifice led for me to even being homeless at one point at an early stage of my career, especially when I decided to become a personal trainer. But everything I did, alhamdulillah, I knew that when I was on road, I was quite extreme with what I was doing. And I wanted to be the best and I wanted to be, known, and I wanted to make sure that everything I did was done properly. So it was about just channeling that mindset, but doing something positive, now. So that transition of coming off the roads to doing something positive and not letting it catch up with you and try to get away with it as soon as possible to now do something positive was quite extreme. Does that make sense? Not many people make it out. Not many people do such a quick transition. Some people ease themselves out of it slowly. Yeah. Or some people, take baby steps. But everything I did was always quite extreme. Even down to me losing weight. I was quite obese. I was quite overweight. When I went in prison, I locked in and I went on a very strict diet, very strict training routine. That by the time I came out, I had lost all my weight and I was fit and healthy. Does that make sense? Even when it came to creating Pro PT, my first business that I was doing quite legit, that from being someone who was offering free training sessions, and that stems back from, our 5 pillars in Islam. What's our 5 pillars in Islam? One of them is giving charity. Mm-hmm. So charity has always been in me from a young age, giving back, and knowing that when I give back and doing something for the sake of Allah, I'm not expecting nothing. That opportunity will come from it as well. Yeah, 100%. Does that make sense? 100%. I've always had that faith and always had that trust. And I always knew when I struggled with anything, or I never had nothing, I made sure I gave even more. And I was never left with nothing, so that foundation was built from building my Pro PT business, from training people for free for about a year, to all of a sudden building such a high demand for myself that I was able to convert all that free work into paid work and being someone who had a very high demand of successful clients. So everything I did was also quite extreme, even from being someone who, at 18 was living inside a disabled toilet to the age of 21. Me and my brother was renting a mansion in northwest London. We had a swimming pool in our house, we had a spa, we had a maid. That was crazy.
Why was you renting a mansion?
The reason I was renting a mansion because my fitness training was quite crazy, from being someone who was training people at Pure Gym for free, doing that for 1 year, being kicked out because I became very competitive in the market, but I wasn't charging people, to then going to my second gym, applying the same formula. But what took me a year to build, I was able to build it in 3 months. By the time I built it in 3 months, I spent another almost like half a year in like converting those free work into pay clients and making a killing, and getting to the point where like I became such a threat to the gym that all the staff in the gym went on strike to get rid of me. But I wasn't breaking the law. I wasn't like breaking the rules of the gym. It was just that everyone wanted me to train with them. I started social media at the time. I was the first one to like create content and post content about gym. I was offering free classes. So anyone who was doing the paid classes were losing out on clients. You know, anyone who at the gym, when I first started working there for the first 3 months, anyone who was charging their clients to train them, I was offering free training sessions. And the reason why I was doing that is because I wanted to build a name for myself. I wanted to showcase my skills. You know, at the time I was young, I was the youngest in that place. You know, I had less experience than everyone else. And I wanted to do all of that to build my testimonials, to build my proof that I was very good at what I was doing. And I wanted to become the best person trainer at the time. And that's why I called myself Pro PT at the time. So within doing that, it literally got to a year where like the whole gym were like, we ain't got no clients. Everyone wants to train with Pro PT. Everyone goes to his classes. You know, his classes are booked at 3 months in advance. So everyone else was losing business. And where we was like in a freelance gym where you did 15 hours for free to the gym, in return, they will give you the facility to train your clients. They don't pay you for those 15 hours, but you just work for free, and then you can use the facility for the whole month to train your clients.
Anything after that is all yours, basically.
All yours.
Yeah. I
was a massive threat because everyone else is self-employed. So everyone was like, well, we're losing our money. Man was training people free, and then now that he's training people and he's charging them, he's taking all our clients. They're like, we're going to go on strike for 2 weeks. So they were going to go on strike, and the gym has to operate with staff.
That means you couldn't do anything either.
I couldn't do it. No, I was allowed to work.
Yeah.
So I was showing up every day, still training my clients whilst these lot were going on strike. But the reason why they went on strike, they said, we need to get rid of this guy or else we're not going to come to the gym. So the manager sat me down. They're like, well, you need to leave. You know, I was like, why? It's like, because the formula on what you create, what you've done, has ruined the business for the rest of the people in this gym. Even though you're not doing nothing wrong, but like, do you mind just leaving? I'm like, no, I'm not leaving. And I decided to leave. By the time I left, I went and I collaborated with another guy where, you know, I went into a business that was already an existing business but wasn't doing well, and I bought my momentum, I bought my followers, I bought my clientele, and I was able to turn that gym into a very successful gym. But I went wrong in the beginning. I never signed a contract.
Oh, did you not?
And then within a year of making this place a successful place, this when I took my brother Idris on board, they just kicked us out. But alhamdulillah, at the time, again, from going through the first struggle, the second one, the third one, I said to myself, I need to do something different. And at the time, I had this same formula of like, give value, give value, give value. And then eventually people want to support it. So the same formula I did when I went to the first gym, the second gym, gone into the third gym now. By the time I got to that stage, I was like to myself, cool, I got these really wealthy clients. I started doing these home visits, and they got big houses and they've got gyms in their houses. And I was like doing some of those private sessions with the gym sessions. And I said to myself, you know what, like, I'm going to go to all these rich houses and offer free training sessions just to get in there, just to build that network and, you know, to be able to like train them. And then I had been rejected by all these gyms, all these houses and everything. They're like, who's this crazy guy coming to my door trying to offer a free training session? And they took one person to take me in, and when that person took me in, he then introduced me to all the other neighbours. And eventually I was able to do all these home visits, and I thought to myself, I'm so busy right now, I can't even train all these houses. You know, I got so busy, I like going from one address to another just is just long. I'm losing out on time and money. So then I went and rented a mansion and was able to convert a section of the house into a gym, and then was able to invite all my clients there. And then that's how like Pro PT started getting more popular. That's how I started becoming a very well-known trainer in the country.
So let me ask you, bro, because we always have moments in our life where Allah's constantly testing us, yeah? And as you're telling me this right now, you're going through the story of finding yourself and the struggle you were going through and the problems you had to face. What do you think it was that Allah was testing you with, and what was it that Allah was trying to make you overcome?
In all scenarios, I'll be real with you, I had done a lot of wrong. So in the back of my head, I used to always think I'm getting punished for what I've done. That was one side of it.
What, as in like past life sort of thing?
Yeah, past life things.
Yeah.
So I felt like, you know, maybe this is just a test to cleanse my past. And another thing as well, like, I just remember through every hardship I went through, I always felt this like urge and confidence in myself that I would become a better person. So I started to just accept hardship. I started to actually create my life around, create my own hardship to become a better person, to become stronger. You know, like I was able to endure pain like people that, and most people around me that wouldn't endure. You know, so I just started to make my life even more uncomfortable myself. And at the same time, I knew to become the best at anything you do, you will find haters. People are going to be jealous. People are going to doubt you. You are going to face, you know, loads of struggles. And I was able to like understand that this is just part of my journey. So I was willing to accept it and just go through it.
Yeah.
So the main thing at the start, I used to think like maybe I'm getting punished for what I've done. But then at one point it got to the stage I thought, like, you know what, I actually enjoy this. I enjoy the hardship. I enjoy pain. I enjoy being uncomfortable. That's where growth comes.
Yeah.
You know?
Out of confidence. Wa alaikum salam to everyone who's in the chat right now saying salam.
Alaikum salam.
A good question here actually. Where do you think you'd be if you didn't develop your love for working out?
Where I think I would be. For me, before working out was violence and crime. So I would have probably stayed.
Within that?
Yeah, within that. Because what I realised, like, your body and your mind is a reflection of who you are and who you're going to become as well. It's like, I can look at someone, if they're out of shape, they've got bad posture, I can kind of like understand what sort of lifestyle they live, what habits they have, the kind of person they are, whether they're confident, whether they're insecure.
Let's test this right now. You look at me right now. I'm not even going to say what shape I'm in and all that sort of stuff, and I'm not even going to be offended. Just say how
I'll
it
be
is.
honest with you. So with you, I've known you now. If I didn't know you, I'll break it down. But because I've known you and I've seen your journey and I've seen your commitment, you've gone through a journey yourself. You used to be a lot more chubbier. You've lost weight.
True.
You know, I've listened to multiple of your podcasts, the way you carry yourself, the way you've been speaking, the skills that you've developed over the years. You're a lot more humble, a lot more mature, you know. So all these key traits plays a big part of how someone is.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like a lot of people's insecurities are carried from their body.
Yeah.
And it's an internal issue because for me, when I was overweight, I was very insecure. And, you know, there's a reason why I became overweight. The childhood trauma and trouble I used to go to, that I faced, I used to tend towards food. And I used to overeat. And I found comfort in eating. But then it had a really bad effect on my body. It had an effect on my mind. It created further insecurities. It made things worse. So when I discovered exercise, fitness and training, it did the complete opposite because I used to always feel good after a training session. At the beginning, I used to struggle, like especially being overweight, from joint pains, from, you know, like being lazy and like being out of breath all the time. But I knew once I started getting into it and I started getting the results, I started feeling better. I started feeling better in the way I look, the way I spoke changed, the way I carried myself. The pains that I was facing physically started to change. And I feel like a lot of people who have these really bad habits are very lazy. And for me, laziness is one of the worst diseases. It's one of the worst, you know, place to be in life. So I knew from from exercise and training and changing my body, I was able to come away from that. And then I was able to channel that into other things in my life to do things more positively. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because me and Idris were talking about this yesterday about motivation and discipline. And he was saying certain things. And now I'm thinking about it now. When I see you in the gym, you're on that treadmill. You've got that saying, rent paid. Now, I see you in gym. I want to say salam, but at the same time, I don't because I know you're locked in. And it's like, when people would see Yusef on the treadmill, just let him be. Let him be.
Yeah, 100%.
But it takes real discipline for you to be on that treadmill every single day and sweat in the buckets that you sweat. Yeah. What is it? What is the key to creating that discipline?
I say channeling your hardship is number one. Number two, setting a goal. If you got a goal, it creates purpose. And set a goal greater than what you think you're capable of achieving. Because one thing I learned that when the mind tells the body ain't going to quit, the body learns to adapt. So don't limit yourself, you know. And from being someone who's achieved a lot already, alhamdulillah, and understood that by achieving these things, I've had to make loads of sacrifice. I've had to go through a lot of hardship. I've had to deal with all the problems that most people are facing nowadays. But to know that from training and from, you know, being connected to the training aspect has also kept me away from other addictions like drugs, alcohol, and all these other things that most people fall into. That by exercise and training, I was able to not only just create a better version of myself, I was able to discover myself. I was able to become very creative. I was able to learn the steps to become successful through training, you know. So everything that I had created from there had allowed me to, you know, be so disciplined, stay so locked in, and, you know, achieve these amazing things like running London to Amsterdam.
Do you think everyone should go on that journey of trying to find their best version of themselves, whether it's through diet, through gym, whatever the case may be?
Absolutely. Like, an iPhone needs an upgrade all the time, right? And if a technology and a mobile phone constantly upgrades, and we're a lot, for example, like a human body and human mind is far greater than an iPhone. Yeah. So why are we not upgrading ourselves?
Yeah. Why are we not staying up to date?
A car as well needs an MOT.
Yeah.
No matter what car you have, you can have a Ferrari. If you mistreat it, you don't service it, you don't take care of it,
it's gonna fail.
Does that make sense? So the body needs that as well, and the mind needs that as well. Yeah,
alhamdulillah. Well, let's go on a quick ad break and then we'll come to some questions. So write some questions in the chat, people. Looking for the ultimate luxury in health and wellness? Experience the finest pure Yemeni Sidr Honey infusions from the Health Co. A perfect gift and a powerhouse of nutrition. Their raw Sidr Honey is one of the world's finest, rich in caramel flavor, antibiotic properties, and great for digestion. Or try the Black Seed Sidr, a superfood which has been used for centuries in Islamic health with anti-inflammatory and antibacterial benefits. Or for an immune boost, check out the Royal Jelly Sidr, packed with collagen boosting properties, or their rare and creamy white honey, known for gut health. And if you want it all, their super mix Sidr combines cinnamon, black seeds, white honey, ginger, turmeric, and royal jelly, a true immune boosting superfood. Plus, every single batch is lab tested for purity. And of course, one thing we love around here is a percentage of all profits go straight to charity. So get the perfect Eid gift or even elevate your own health at thehealthco.co.uk. All available on Etsy as well. The link is in the description. Tap that and make sure you're always chasing the best health for yourself. Why is it not coming back to the ads? That's interesting. Anyway, we are back, people. Assalamu alaikum. Hope you're all well. Question which I suppose we kind of answered in the beginning, but I'm assuming this person's just tuning in now. What and also who inspired you for the 100k? What inspired you for the 100k run?
What inspired me for the 100k run?
Yeah.
Like I said to you, for me, I didn't really have much inspiration when it came to like doing a 100k run, because I knew I'd done it before, and that's where after I did the 100k run, going back to what we were speaking about earlier about raising the money for the 100k, was that when I first did the 100k for Palestine, I hadn't reached the 100k goal. And I said to myself, this wasn't good enough at that point. I think we raised like close to 50k. And I knew like, at one point I thought maybe I rushed this. Maybe like I didn't give myself enough time. Running the 100k was nothing for me, but raising the 100k, I gave myself 30 days.
Yeah.
And then for me, I'm someone like, I'm quite obsessive. Like I said, I'm quite of an extreme. If I want to achieve something, I have to achieve it. And I knew from a marketing perspective, I'd done all my best. Like all the videos that I posted were reaching millions of views. And from those videos, I was able to raise a lot of money. I did loads of like day in the lives as well, where like, I was going to like businesses that I knew or friends that I knew that own businesses, and I was volunteering to work for free. And whatever we had made that day, we're going to use that as an all proceed donation towards the pot that we were raising.
Yeah.
So I did like a carpentry job. I did like a plumbing job. I went to like a stage and I went to a few restaurants. A few of my mates own like restaurants and, you know, food truck businesses and all of that. And I did my best to like, not just ask for the money to be raised, but also put in the work and the effort while still training for this 100k. So by doing all of that, I said to myself, there's no way we have not reached this 100k target. And I've literally maxed out. So I said to myself, maybe it's because like I've done 100k. Maybe that wasn't good enough for the people to be like, you know what, this person's not willing to, that this person's not really put himself through it. So then, like, after doing 100k, literally within a day or two, I sat down and I said to myself, well, I'm going to run from London to Amsterdam. And for those who ask why London to Amsterdam, because a few months ago, I saw that Amsterdam did a massive thing for Palestine. You know, I don't know if you watched that video when, you know, there was a football game. So I thought, you know what? The people of Amsterdam are really, truly supporting
the
Palestine,
cause.
The cause, you know, and I had a lot of people from Amsterdam support the cause whilst I was doing 100k. So I said to myself, cool, I'm going to get this flag and take it from London to Amsterdam. And same thing I did, I went on ChatGPT and I said, break down this program for me, create a program for me that I need to train 25 days now to run from London to Amsterdam. And it came as an idea, but then there was so many more other complications that came with it. You know, I had to do like a health check to make sure like my body was on point, because after running 100k, your body loses a lot of like nutrients, minerals, my body was very low.
You got to do the MOT basically.
Sodium.
Yeah.
Like there wasn't even enough time to do the MOT.
Yeah.
Because it's like one extreme challenge to another, and also like I'm not just doing these challenges and nothing in between. I'm running and training in between as well. You know, even just running like a marathon every day back to back for a few days. It's quite extreme. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Your body deprives in sodium and nutrients, and this is where Sunna supplement comes in place. You know, and they were able to facilitate all the nutrients, the vitamins, the minerals, you know, from silage to like, you know, the black seed oil, the electrolytes, everything that I needed to do the bare minimum to get me through the training.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Because even then, although they were able to supplement me throughout the training for the build up, it wasn't still enough because of how much calories I'm burning every single day.
Yeah.
So I also got a meal prep company to sponsor me as well. I don't know if you heard of Foodery.
Yeah.
Like a halal meal prep company. So they was able to support me on that journey as well. But everything I had done, my body wasn't, you know, like up to date with it. So the sacrifice I had to do from, you know, from the diet perspective, supplements perspective. I said earlier about the recovery from like getting physio pretty much every single day. And after doing a long run, trust me, like the hour and a half physio session was a lot harder than the actual training.
Yeah.
Because when your body is mashed up and you got someone massaging it and stretching it, the pain is crazy. But for me, it was like what kept me going was I saw a video of a girl carrying her sister. You know, and that was my first initial reason why.
Palestine?
Yeah, in Palestine. That was my first initial reason why I wanted to do this. Because I saw a little girl, she was like a 6-year-old girl, and she was carrying her little sister who was like 1-2-year-old on her shoulder. And a guy pulled up, like a journalist pulled up and asked her, what's going on, what's she doing? And she said, my sister got hit by a car, and I've been walking with her trying to find a medic or a hospital to take her to. And he asked her, how long have you been walking for? And she's like, I've been walking for hours. And he said, get in the car. So he got in the car and took her to the hospital. And even when they took her to the hospital, when they got out of the car, she picked up her sister and carried on carrying her. And if you know any woman or any mother out there, you know, even just carrying a baby for an hour, it's hard. It's heavy on the back. You know, it's quite hard to carry a baby for an hour.
Yeah, for sure.
This is a 6-year-old girl carrying her sister for hours. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
it's a little girl. And when I saw that, she was barefoot and she had injured herself and she had all these like blood stains everywhere.
Yeah.
I said to myself, if she can do that and she's been doing that, there's no way I can't do this challenge. You know, and I knew I had to do something quite extreme, not only to spread the awareness, but to show and prove to myself that I'm willing to do whatever it takes to help our brothers and sisters in Palestine. You know, everyone can just get up and train and run a marathon or run a 5K. Anyone can just reshare a video on Instagram. Anyone can just, you know, make money and donate money. But I thought to myself, nah, this ain't good enough. And I knew it had to be big. I knew it had to be far greater than anything I did. The same effort I put in business, I thought I'm going to put this in this challenge. The same aspect of marketing that I've done in the past that has done me well and raising a lot of money for my own business. I thought I'm going to use this same strategy
and do for this
to raise money.
Yeah.
And alhamdulillah, like, I was able to raise like almost 70k.
Alhamdulillah.
Within 50 days.
Alhamdulillah. That's a lot of money. Yeah, that's a lot of money.
And I was able to generate over 30 million views on Instagram.
Alhamdulillah.
With no paid ads,
nothing,
no collaboration, just off the back of my own social media. I was able to get involved in multiple businesses. I was able to raise loads of sponsors.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
You know, I was able to like get people from Palestine notice what I was doing. So the reach went all the way out there. The kids in Palestine were sending me videos.
Alhamdulillah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, all within one idea, all within like the space of like less than 2 months.
Talk to me about the process of running from London to Amsterdam. So how many days was it over?
So it was originally meant to be done in 2 days, but I done it in less than 2 days.
You done it in less than 2 days?
Yeah.
Running from London to Amsterdam in less than 2 days. How is that even physically possible? What's the speed you're running at? I need to know everything, bro. So tell me the whole process.
The breakdown was...
Where did you start from?
We started in London.
Yeah.
So the breakdown was to run from London to Harwich.
Yeah.
Which was about 100 to 120 kilometers, depending on the route we took.
Yeah.
We managed to cover it within 100k. So I did that. Started at 5 or 6 a.m. in the morning. Started around 5, 6 a.m. in the morning. And got to Harwich within like 12 hours actually.
Yeah.
So the first journey was like quick and smooth. And I've never done 2 long runs back to back. And the reason why I had to run to Harwich, because there was a direct ferry from Harwich to Hook of Holland.
Okay, yeah.
The only thing is the direct ferry, it's a long ferry. It was like a 6-7 hour journey. So imagine after running the first 100k, getting to Harwich, it was like getting on the ferry and now patiently waiting to come off the ferry.
But surely
that was the hardest thing.
They're patiently waiting, but surely you could use that time to rejuvenate and rest.
For anyone that's run, when you run 5k or 10k, the minute you stop, your body sees up.
But it's different.
Try to run again after that.
100k is different though.
So even worse.
Yeah.
From a dietary perspective, from like blisters, aches, like cramps. So it was like, cool, now we got to Harwich and we've had to deal with the weather.
Oh, so Harwich literally right at the tip then. Right at the tip.
Yeah. And then from there we got on the ferry to Hook of Holland and then we had to then run another over 60k to get to Amsterdam.
Yeah. So where's the Hook of Holland thing?
So now where's Amsterdam?
Amsterdam's there.
Where show you?
Amsterdam is there. Look, Amsterdam there.
Of course, Amsterdam's there. So Hook of Holland is right there. Somewhere here. Look.
Okay, cool.
So then we had to then run across this bit here.
Yeah.
All the way
up.
Up to there.
And you done that in 2 days.
So the first day we got to I think Hook of Holland.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to Harwich at 10 p.m.
Yep.
And then from there we had to jump on the ferry, and then we got to Hook of Holland I think like 8 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
And then from there it was just carrying running.
So you didn't even rest?
Didn't rest.
Why not? I know what you're saying. Like you got to crack on with it, but like at that point there, at 10 p.m., you want to rest, rejuvenate, especially if you're getting to that point at 8 a.m. You're thinking, all right, that's perfect time to sleep, rest the legs, and then go again.
Bro, I'll be real with you. After running 100k, the way your body turns itself back in itself, like your body goes against itself because it's like burnt almost 1,500 calories.
Probably more than that.
You get it? And you're barely eating that much.
Yeah.
The amount of water and sweat that's coming out of your body.
Mm-hmm.
You're not even able to drink that much fluid to get back in your body.
Yeah.
The injuries that you're building up on those runs. And also, I'm someone who's got loads of physical problems and restrictions that I shouldn't even be running these events.
Yeah.
But I've also set the mindset to also always accomplish them regardless of what I'm going through. It was like doing all of that. And where I've run 100k before, I knew how much damage it does to the body and how much time you actually really need to recover. It was like, for me, it was about the unknown of waking up tomorrow morning and knowing that I had to go again and redo this whole thing. It's like, after running 100k in the past, even when I did the London 100k, I knew how mashed up my body was the next day. But that's what it was. It was like facing the unknown. I knew that the longer I left it, the more my body was stiff up and you just won't be able to move.
Yeah, sometimes in life you just want to crack on with it.
So for me, it was about just cracking on.
Yeah.
So even when I got on the ferry, I couldn't stop my body from shaking. And like the temperature that we was running at, this was in February. So it's freezing cold.
Mm-hmm.
We experienced rain, snow, -3 degrees. We're in the open field. So like the minute I'm sweating and my clothes are getting wet, I'm getting extremely cold now. And it was like running from here to Harwich. It like the last 20-30k, it did not stop raining. And you can see it on my Instagram.
Yeah.
If you go on the photos and you swipe to the left, you'll see like the rain condition was like mad.
Yeah.
The roads were narrow, no footpath. We're running like on the roads where like lorries are like driving at like 40-50 miles per hour, splashing waters.
Yeah.
It's mad.
These drivers must be thinking, what are these lot on?
Crazy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But it was like, after doing that, getting on that ferry, and it was the unknown. It's like, well, I need to now wake up in the morning and do the same thing again. And now I'm in Amsterdam. I've never been there. Don't know what the roads are like. Don't know if there's going to be hills. Don't know if there's any paths, what we're going to experience. But again, the minute we woke up, could barely walk, could barely move. And I just said to myself, I just need to take one step. And I just kept remembering my brothers and sisters in Palestine. I remember why I did it. Always remember that I was doing it for the sake of Allah. And I remember how far I came. And I knew even the responsibility that the fact that I pitched this idea to the sponsors, the fact that I put it out there now, I had this obligation, this mindset, this non-negotiable mindset that there's a lot of people that I'll be letting down if I quit now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that gave me the urge to not quit. Especially Brother Hamza from Sunnah Supplements. It's like I made a promise to him. Do you know what I mean? And like
obligation. It's like it's got to be done now.
But see, with him, it was that quick phone call I had with him where like he's like, "Don't worry, bro, I got you." It's like he didn't hesitate. He didn't question it. He didn't give me no excuses. And that motivated me, bro. I'm like, if this brother can do such big sacrifice, and it is a sacrifice, any form of contribution is a sacrifice, whether it's your time, your help. There was a brother called Abu Huraira, sorry, who was there with me throughout the whole journey. You know, didn't sleep. He would support me. He didn't run it, but he was there beside me. That was a sacrifice. You know, and at no point did he doubt me. The minute I said to him, I'm going to do it, he's like, yeah, let's go. So all these people, I felt like I've made promises, and at no point did they doubt me. At no point did they like hesitate or, you know, doubt the willing to support.
Yeah.
For me, it was like creating an obligation. So when I woke up that morning, I said, if these people were able to do their little part, then I'm able to do this as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Creating that mentality of like, wow, this needs to get done now. So I just took one step at a time, and then we managed to complete it.
Alhamdulillah. We're going to come to our last ad break, and then we're going to come to questions in the comments. So if you've got questions for Yusef, then please ask away right now, and then we come straight back to it after the ad. So if you've ever dreamt of getting yourself into a high-paying tech career, even if you don't have a technical degree, listen up. Here's what Mariana's bootcamp offers. Hands-on coding skills, learning industry-relevant skills in a structured step-by-step guide, taking on real-world projects, and building a portfolio that shows employers you can solve real problems. Mariana herself made the leap from a non-tech background to earning 6 figures as a software engineer. She's here to guide you every step of the way. You'll even get access to a community of learners who are helping each other stay focused and accountable every step of the way. From interview to prep resume building, you'll get insider tips to land a tech role and start earning more. Now, why does this all matter in the first place? Because people have gone from earning under £30,000 to landing junior engineer roles at top companies. All thanks to Mariana's proven system. So if you're ready to invest in yourself and finally break into the tech industry, this is your chance. Just simply scan the QR code on the screen right now, or use the link in the description, and you can find out more information for yourself. Back. Right, we are back, people. We are back. Let me come to the questions and see what we got. Someone's asked here, ask him what interests him. This is completely separate to what we were just talking about. Ask him what interests him going to the reality TV show where, you know, when you went into the prison and stuff like that. Yeah, Banged Up, that's the one. Yeah. Why did you go on there?
Why did I go on there?
Yeah.
So I got asked to go on there.
You was a bully on there as well. I gotta be real.
So I got asked to go on there, and I was one of the first candidates to go on the show. And got asked to go on the show, and I was like a big part of helping them put this sort of show together. And I knew nothing about the show, and once I got approved to go on it, they told me you have to play a role and act on it, and I was someone who was willing to do that. And they said to me, recreate and react the person you was when you were in prison. And again, my objective of going on that show was that it had to benefit me as well. You know, I had to make sure that I was getting paid, and I had to make sure that I was able to leverage off it and not only get the views but also turn the views into an income as well. So not only from starting a TikTok account at the time and making money from views on TikTok, but also converting those views into potential customers in my fragrance businesses, which I was running on TikTok and Instagram. Yeah. So that was my main objective. My main objective was to go out there, you know, put together my acting skills, which then got me an acting opportunity. And I've now played a role in a movie from that. Really? Does that make sense? Yeah. Because they're like, your acting skills are great. And any sneak peeks or anything you could say? Nah, I think we'll wait for it to we'll talk about off camera. What was your, cause obviously you just mentioned there as well, the perfume Yatura. What's the whole inspiration behind that, and how's that doing? The whole inspiration, so you know that I've been rinsing this 1-2 bottles. I've gone through 3 bottles of Nomad. Alhamdulillah, which is banging, 10 out of 10. Come on. But what's the whole inspiration behind that? What's the purpose of it? So the purpose behind it was that my brother started a fragrance brand at the time. We're coming to COVID. The fitness industry was affected massively. So my fitness industry at the time, it had to take a 360 spin, and I was okay with that because the stuff that I was doing, the stuff that I was posting back then, when I started to, you know, realize how much it affects me as a person from an Islamic perspective, I had to just let go of it. You know, the fitna behind it, you know, just like being around women and training women and posting content about women, for me, just got out of line.
Yeah.
You know, so I had to like just let go of that.
That was when around the time you done the podcast with Mikey, innit? When you were wearing the pink belly and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. So I was doing a lot of stuff that wasn't really in line with myself and my journey and who I was trying to become. And so, but at the same time, back then, it's like I had no boundaries. I would do anything to get the views, to get the clout. But I had a goal. I wasn't just doing it for the views and the clout. I was doing it because I was converting them into sales. I was really good at doing that. Yeah. You know, once I got the audience, I was able to captivate them and, you know, hold on to them and convert them into a customer. So that's what I did. I just said to myself, I need to let go of this personal training business right now and start something new. But I also wanted to create something that can inspire people one day and show them that anyone who comes from where I come from, whether you're a drug dealer, whether you're someone who's robbing stuff and selling, whatever it is you're doing, any crime you're doing, that you can actually do something legit and positive with. And it was like about converting those skill sets into something positive. So alhamdulillah, that time I was successful. I had a very successful business. You know, I was living in Chigwell, beautiful house and everything. But I said to myself, like, this can't relate to a lot of people. And a lot of people who haven't really seen my journey to how I became successful in the personal training world, it was like, they can't really relate. They'll think I've had it easy or just got given to me. They don't know the sacrifices and the hard work. And unless I went on the podcast and told my story, a lot of people think I've had it easy. Yeah. Does that make sense? So I thought, you know what? Now that I've got views and I've got a big platform, let me recreate something from the beginning, from the ground, and actually show people that although I'm successful, I'm willing to now start a business from scratch without investing any money. So I went to a supplier and I said to him, look, if you can sign me your product, I'm going to sell it, and literally within a week, I'm going to use the prof from, you know, the product that I was selling to reinvest. Then it can be something that I can document and showcase to the young generation or anyone out there who wants to start a business and be like, I haven't got money. Yeah. The strength of using your network, using social media to promote your business, using skill sets that you have yourself to get up and sell in public to people to actually create something. So within like 4 weeks, you know, we were able to pay back the suppliers and have enough profit to now invest in this business fully.
Alhamdulillah.
And then within like 3 months of selling it in the streets during COVID, going to every single train station, market, stores and everywhere, we was able to now create a brand. So I called it Yatora. And Yatora, the Y comes from my name Yusef, and the Torah comes from the name Torah, which is my surname. Yeah. So I created the word Yatora to combine the two words together. And only recently I find out that the word Yatora means the fragrance in Arabic.
Oh, really?
Atar. Yeah. Atar is oud, like fragrance, right? And Yatora is the fragrance. And then Torah, which is my surname, if you translate the name Torah, it's the father of fragrance. Abu Torah. Yeah. Torah.
Sick name.
Yeah, so weird how that all happened. Yeah. Obviously from Allah, but so at the time I said to myself, cool, I've documented the journey of selling in the streets, going to the markets and doing all of that. Now it's about taking this online, and I had never had an e-commerce business. So that's where I started going viral on TikTok, doing the boxing stuff, going viral on that, doing the Channel 4 stuff, going viral on that. I was like, how do I get the audience to now fall into my platform and to build a relationship with my audience and to give them what they wanted, to now convert them into clients or customers to buy my fragrance. So alhamdulillah, I was able to do that.
Alhamdulillah.
Even though when on live stream, I used to be quite popular on live stream. I used to sit on TikTok, just doing madnesses. Eventually, like once I got my name and my views out there, to the point where like I was getting like 6-7K views on TikTok live, which is huge, you know, like on TikTok. I knew that once I was ready to come on live and sell my product, a lot of my supporters will buy my product. And within 3 months, I was able to do that. So I was able to convert, you know, everyone who was buying it from us from the market stores, you know, the streets, to now buying it on our website. And then within like 4 years, we was able to grow a very solid foundation and a very solid business. And then last year, we decided to get a retail store. And then that went really well. We did it for about 6 months. And I've only just sold it recently to get rid of it.
Really? Why?
The store.
Yeah, no, why?
The store. Because for me, like, I get bored, bro. Weirdly, I get bored. And everything I do usually lasts for like 3 to 6 months. And I'm like looking for the next big thing, big thing. And I also look at the longevity of things as well. I look at things and think like, would this last for the next 5 years? Could I be doing this for the next 5 years? And if I don't see myself doing it, if I don't see it lasting, I pull out before it fails. And for me, for example, like having a store in Harlow, in a Harvey Centre, I don't see that place going anywhere in 5 years' time. I don't see retail going anywhere in 5 years' time. You know, like me selling stuff in the streets and the market, I knew after 6 months I couldn't carry on doing it. So I had to go online. So that was the next step. Then when I went online, I knew like me just being this person who's going to use my personal brand to grow the business could only last 3 to 6 months. Eventually I had to let the brand be itself. So I had to pull back on it. Does that make sense? And try to recreate as a brand. And then once it became a brand, I knew when I went retail, I knew after 6 months, that's it. Like, if people now want to buy my product, they're just going to have to buy it online to cut back on costs, you know, to make it more of an efficient brand.
Better, more scalable.
Does that make sense? And that's the stage I'm at right now, where got rid of retail, just focusing on the online, and soon I'll be introducing other things into the business. So,
alhamdulillah. I'm going to address some comments in here. Abu Sufyan's in here, yeah? He goes, Yusef, take Raheem to the gym. Ak, how are you telling Yusef to take me to the gym when you're the one who was telling me yesterday, come down to food coma and all that sort of stuff, telling me to get fat and then telling Yusef to take me to the gym? It's not making no sense.
Nah, for real.
Dino goes, Abu Sufyan, deliver some food coma to my crib. We can probably, hopefully do that. Raheem wins MT4. I don't know why someone's obsessed with MT4. Yeah, Mikey, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Oh yeah, I did turn it on. He told me to turn the fireplace on and it's on now, alhamdulillah. When are we getting? Yeah, good point to be fair. We had Idris on, we have got yourself on now. And next one, we should get Kareem on, inshallah. Here's a good question actually, because people have been asking, it's been a reoccurring question here. What is the next challenge for yourself? Someone said, would you do London to Hajj? I'm going to translate that to London to Makkah.
Potentially. I just need to look at all the logistics. And for me, like I said to you lot, you know, if you guys have been on the podcast, I get bored. For me, things last 3 to 6 months, then I'm really looking for the next big thing. So something like running from London to Hajj will take a lot of commitment and a lot of sacrifice. Unless I've got loads of sponsors and my life is planned out around setting such a challenge, it would take, you know, I don't know how far the distance is, but I see a guy the other day, he ran from London to, what's that mountain called? Tallest mountain.
Everest?
Everest, yeah. He's running from London to Everest, and then he's going to climb Mount Everest, and it's taking him 6 months to do that.
That's nothing.
He cycled, he ran, cycled, and swam the channels as well to get to the other countries. He's visited 19 countries, and he's done this so far in the last 6 months, then he's going to climb Mount Everest. And I just know to be able to do something like that, just from my own experience of running London to Amsterdam, the time it takes, the cost it takes, like even just doing the London to Amsterdam, it costs us like over 10 grand to do that challenge.
Mental.
You know, from having a team in place,
the whole lot,
food,
the logistics,
you know, nutrition, equipment, the running gear.
Yeah.
Like I was getting, I went through like 3 to 5 pair of trainers.
Really?
Yeah.
Just the amount of impact it's going to
have
how
much,
in a minute.
training I've done in them. Like they'll wore out, or they'll lose their cushion, or like they'll pop, or like they'll rip.
Yeah.
So like I went through loads of trainers, like, and running trainers cost like £200-300 per pair.
Yeah.
So that's from the from the trainer's perspective. So there's a lot of like expense that goes into it. So to do something like London to Hajj, I wouldn't doubt myself. I believe I can do it, but it has to be structured and planned properly.
Of course,
the physical aspect I'm willing to do. I know I can get myself through it, but it's making sure that there's a cause and a purpose behind it for me to be committed to it, you know?
Dino's in the chat asking some high IQ questions. Dino, I don't know why you're doing this. Firstly, Dino, if that's the Dino I'm thinking of, then we'll go to food coma tomorrow, inshallah, and Tarawih after. But he's got a question here. So he had a first question, which you copied from Abu Sufyan yesterday, which was, what would you say to your 18-year-old self? Simple question, we'll leave that there. But his deeper question is, what would you say you are? Dragged or driven? Dragged equals fueled by pain and trauma, and driven equals fueled by who you currently are. It's a more positive thing.
I believe I use both of them. So I would probably say at the start, anything I do or anything I enter, where I call it like the unknown zone, I probably use a lot of past experience. Not necessarily always trauma. Sometimes it could be the success to drive me through. But then there's times where like I've created this super confident character right now in anything I do, and this self-belief and this drive. And I always know that as long as I put Allah first and I pray my salah and I'm doing my charity, that I can accomplish anything, then I have that sort of positive approach. But on a day-to-day basis, but I live quite uncomfortable. You know, like, I deprive myself from a lot of things just to be uncomfortable. I find comfort in being uncomfortable, and I find that's what helps me keep going every single time. You know, that's what helps me stay away from being lazy. That helps me from staying away from complaining, you know, dwelling, having that self-doubt, feeling the need to like go back on myself or go back into certain sins or certain commitments that I said I will never go back into. Do you get it? So I find both approach work for me, you know, but I couldn't say that I do one more than the other.
I'm going to ask you final couple of questions here, Ak. First one being, if there's an overall message that you want people to take away from this podcast, what would it be?
For me, number one, it will be like, give things up for the sake of Allah and He will replace it for what's better. That's been a big advocate for my life, you know. Remember our purpose in life, you know, why we're here, where we're heading towards. But don't restrict and don't limit yourself, you know. Set goals above and beyond and work towards them every single day. And remember the importance of helping people. Like I said to you guys earlier, it's like, whenever I used to struggle with finance, I used to give more charity. If I struggled with like relationship, I hope someone else who's going through difficulties in their relationship. If I struggled with, you know, food, and I felt like sometimes I couldn't put food on the table, I made sure I was able to help someone else who needed food. So not being attached to anything and not, you know, not being grateful and not having that gratitude within yourself, that's probably like one of the greatest things that I can live by. It's like, don't be attached. Make sure you're grateful, have gratitude, and give up what you have if that's what you need help in, you know?
I suppose that kind of ties into my second question, which was, and I'm asking everyone this now, if there's one ayat that relates to you in the Quran, what would it be and why?
For me, yeah.
Something that really sits with you.
For me is that Allah's forgiving. You know, I don't know that is an ayah, but Allah is forgiving.
Characteristic, yeah.
You know, and like, He's the most merciful. And like, for a long time, I never used to think I was like good enough in front of Allah. But to the world, I'm like amazing. You know, or to whoever I had around me, it's like, I'm this person. I know deep down, I'm a nobody. I'm a slave. And I always remind people, I'm not better than anyone else. I'm literally a nobody. But it's like, who am I in front of Allah though? Do you get?
Yeah.
And would I be accepted? And or am I just wasting my time here? You know what I mean? So I'm making sure that we're doing our best to do what's right by Allah first.
Alhamdulillah.
And not get caught up in this world.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. Well, Yusef, I want to thank you very much for coming on the podcast, Ak. If people want to find you, where can they do so?
So on socials at ProPT, mainly on Instagram, very active on Instagram recently. But yeah, across TikTok and all other platforms.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a whole lot more that you're going to be announcing soon, more challenges. And I encourage people to check out Yusef because he's a very good inspiration, role model for us. You know, someone who's constantly pushing themselves, challenging themselves and making sure that they go above and beyond what their own human body can possibly handle. So that if that's not inspiration for you, then I don't know what is. Yusef, I want to thank you. Jazakallah for coming on, bro. And people, remember, every single day, I don't know why people said I was late today to the stream. We started at 3 p.m. We started at 3. If you thought we was late, it was because you were late. Anyway, 3 p.m. every single day. And we ain't going to stop until Ramadan is over, inshallah. So make sure you tune in tomorrow, 3 p.m. And we will have another special guest. So until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Pattern, my bro.